Ever wondered how that little clicker you use for hours on end actually works? No, not your fidget cube. That's a whole other rabbit hole. I'm talking about your trusty computer mouse. Can you believe this small gadget in your hand is a combination of 7 different technologies? That's the same number as the Avengers, but, not nearly as action-packed, unfortunately. Now, we could spend an entire day nerding out over these technologies, but today we're going to focus on the real hero, the image sensor. We'll explain what goes down while you're scrolling and clicking away like a pro. And for all you gaming enthusiasts, we'll also dive into why some mice boast an insane 25,000 DPI, while others settle for just a few thousand. So, grab your mice, the one on your desk, not the one in the hole, and let's embark on this thrilling adventure together. Alright, let's start by flipping your mouse over. See that tiny opening? That's where the magic unfolds. That's what she said. Introducing the Image Acquisition System, or IAS for short. This cool setup includes an infrared LED, a pair of lenses, and the MVP, the Image Pixel Array. Here's how it works. The LED emits infrared light, which passes through a lens and illuminates the surface directly beneath your mouse. The light then bounces off the surface, goes through a second lens, and finally reaches the Advanced Image Pixel Array, aka the image sensor. This sensor is made up of a grid of 1,600 pixels arranged in a 40 by 40 formation. Now, here's the plot twist. Your mouse doesn't actually capture the color or design of your mousepad or desk. Instead, because the light hits the surface at a shallow angle, it illuminates the texture, highlighting the ridges and valleys. It's like a miniature sunset casting shadows across a landscape. So, even if your desk looks smooth to the naked eye, the image sensor sees a complex topographical wonderland. Now that we know how the image sensor captures the surface texture, let's talk about how it translates that information into cursor movement. The secret lies in the fact that the sensor takes a staggering 17,000 pictures per second. This means that even if you move your mouse for just a tenth of a second, the sensor captures around 1,700 images. But here's the kicker. Your mouse doesn't actually store any of these images. Instead, it compares each new picture to the one taken just 59 microseconds earlier. This is where the microchip comes in, using the differences between the two images to calculate how far and in what direction you moved your mouse. The real magic happens in the digital signal processor, DSP, where an algorithm called cross-correlation works its wonders. The DSP overlays the two images, subtracts the pixel values, and then shifts the second image around until it finds the position where the difference is minimized. This shift tells us exactly how far the mouse moved between those two images, giving us the change in X and Y coordinates. Mind-blowing, right? By repeating this process 17 times and adding up the results, your mouse figures out how far it moved in 1 millisecond. This information is then sent to the computer via USB or Bluetooth, and if you want to know more about how Bluetooth works, check out our video on that. Do it! Now! And that, my friends, is how your mouse tracks every movement made in a single millisecond. Impressive stuff! Now that we've covered the basics, let's talk about what I'm sure is way more interesting to you, the difference between gaming mice and your average, everyday mice. Aside from the cool, edgy designs and extra buttons meant to make you look like the coolest nerd on the block, the main distinction lies in the DPI, or dots per inch. Gaming mice boast DPI specs ranging from 12,000 to a mind-boggling 25,000, while regular mice typically fall between 800 and 4,000 DPI. But what exactly does DPI mean? In simple terms, when you move your mouse 1 inch, the number of pixels your cursor moves on the screen is your DPI. So, a 2000 DPI mouse will move your cursor 2000 pixels for every 1 inch you move your mouse. But how does this relate to the image sensor we talked about earlier? Well, let's say each pixel in the 40 by 40 image sensor measures 30 micrometers. If we extrapolate this to an inch, we'd need about 850 pixels, resulting in a DPI of 850. To achieve higher DPI, we need to subdivide each pixel using a process called interpolation. And I gotta say, this interpolation stuff is cool, almost like magic. It's that secret sauce that allows us to achieve those insanely high DPI numbers. The simple version goes like this. Imagine we have 4 pixels, each with a value representing the intensity of light hitting it. We can think of these values as the height of each pixel, forming a topographical landscape. To subdivide these pixels, we draw lines between the tops of the pixels in both the X and Y directions. Then, depending on how many subpixels we want, we subdivide these lines accordingly. At each intersection, we have a new interpolated subpixel value. So, when you change your mouse's DPI settings, you're actually adjusting the number of subdivisions in this interpolation algorithm. Now, there are different types of interpolation, like bilinear and bicubic, each using different mathematical methods to create a smoother topography. But the basic idea remains the same. By subdividing pixels, we can achieve higher DPI values and more precise cursor control. Pretty nifty, right? Another key difference between gaming mice and regular mice is the polling rate, which is how often the mouse reports its position to the computer. Gaming mice typically report 1,000 times per second, or 1,000 Hertz, while regular mice report around 125 times per second, or 125 Hertz. A higher polling rate means smoother cursor movement and faster response times, which can be crucial in fast-paced games. FPSs, anybody? But wait, there's more. Remember how we mentioned that the image sensor captures a whopping 17,000 frames per second? Well, that's only when you're moving the mouse quickly. When your mouse is stationary, the frame rate scales down to conserve battery life. It's like your mouse taking a power nap when you're not using it, and maybe saving you time on recharging or money on new batteries. Now, it's important to note that the specs we've discussed, 17,000 FPS, 25,000 DPI, 40 by 40 pixel frames, etc., are from a high-end gaming mouse. Regular mice will have lower specs, but the underlying technology remains the same. And if you want to dive deeper into how computer hardware works, check out our video on that topic. Do it! You know you want to! So there you have it, the secrets behind how your mouse knows when you move it. From the image sensor to interpolation and polling rates, it's a fascinating journey into the world of computer peripherals. Did that sound like an outro to you? Oh, my bad. We still got more to talk about. Now, let's talk about the difference between optical and laser mice. The mouse we've been discussing so far uses an infrared LED for illumination, but some mice use a laser instead. So, what's the difference? Optical mice use an LED to illuminate the surface, while laser mice use, if the name didn't give it away, a laser. Laser mice can work on more surfaces, including glossy and transparent ones, because the laser can penetrate deeper into the surface. However, they can also be more sensitive to dust and debris, which can affect tracking accuracy. Optical mice, on the other hand, are generally more affordable and have lower power consumption. Let's take a quick trip down memory lane and look at how mouse technology has evolved. The first computer mouse, invented by Douglas Engelbart in 1964, used 2 perpendicular wheels to track movement. It was a far cry from the optical wonders we have today. In the 1980s, mice with balls became popular. These mice used a rubber ball that rolled on the surface, with sensors detecting the ball's rotation to determine movement. While innovative for the time, they were prone to dirt and dust accumulation, affecting performance. There's a joke somewhere in there, but I think I'm just going to leave that one alone. Fast forward to the late 1990s, and optical mice entered the scene. Using an LED and image sensor, they provided more accurate tracking without the need for a ball. And now, with laser mice and high DPI sensors, we've reached new heights in precision and performance. Dang! Who knew there was so much technology packed into this little device we use every day? From the image sensor to interpolation and the evolution of tracking methods, the humble mouse has come a long way. Oh, and remember how we mentioned that a mouse is a combination of 7 different technologies? Well, we've only scratched the surface with the image sensor. The other 6 technologies are microcontroller, USB or wireless communication, scroll wheel encoder, buttons and switches, motion detection algorithms, and ergonomic design. Each of these technologies plays a crucial role in making your mouse the reliable and efficient tool it is, but that's a story for another video. If you enjoyed this deep dive into mouse technology, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for joining us on this journey into the world of computer mice. Until next time, happy clicking!